Yeehaw and howdy, partners, again. It's that time of week. It's Thursday night. We got the crew all together this evening, minus our homeless man, Jason. And apparently we're still a little bit behind on that intro there, but I did see a new intro this week. So I'm assuming next week she'll be uploaded and everything onto the platform. So it looks a lot better. It's really, really cool. I just wish it was here now. Oh, you know how it goes. With me tonight, guess who we got? We got my main guy over here to my left. We got George Reed FF, and he's actually on that note. George is gone. And I meant to say Alex OFF. What's happening, Alex? How we doing this evening?
Good. Wasn't quite ready for that, George decided to step out for a second. He's even in the right room for the Wi-Fi. I don't know what's happening with him.
Poor George.
Don't feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I don't usually. Then the other guy to my left is my man Joe. 2 Tickets to Fantasy. How we doing this evening, my man?
There's something about that the opening song that just it charms me. Like I just like kind of chuckle at it, but it makes me feel at home.
I feel like I'm going to like a kitschy town out west that like does like yeehaw reenactment.
Yeah, I want to grab my wife and do a quick do-si-do.
Yes. That's what it's all about. That's what the Blitz Trading Post is actually all about. Is getting your partner out there and do-si-doing. And in this case, that's what we're going to be talking about is how are we going to get to these guys? How are we going to do-si-do with these people to get these people that we want? So what we did is we grabbed 5 guys a piece, right? And oddly enough, I think we only had one oversplash of the whole thing. And that was with Cortland Sutton. And so with that one, I really didn't I really couldn't believe that between all of us, between the whole entire crew, that we all had different guys that we're all gunning for. And you want to know what else that I can't believe is that the whole entire list that we're all gunning for is adequate. There's a lot of guys on here that I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be another guy that I really wouldn't mind getting on my squad, getting him out there and getting on my team. So I really am pretty excited to get this show going. First off, do we have any NFL news to cover? Joe, you're our news guy. Is there anything going on out there in the NFL that we just can't wait to see? Like I know Debo's thinking about stuff, but I haven't heard.
Yeah, it's never ending, right? Like there really shouldn't be at this point, but then the Debo thing drops, and that was a weird headline today too because, and I think Schefter reported it. Not only the trade request, but it's not a money thing. He doesn't want to play running back, which I guess then means like. The 49ers said we only want you if you play running back. So now we're gonna honor you. Because you would think if he said, I only want to play I don't want to play running back, the Niners would be like, okay, we'll only play you at wideout going forward. The case closed, problem solved, let's move on. But they must have said, well, we want to play you at running back. And now there's a trade request out there. That's a bizarre one to me.
Well, I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't want to put my body through all that nonsense either. I mean, even when he takes, the bubble screen or whatever, the quick pass out on the flatter, he turns into a running back as soon as the ball touches his hands.
But why would the Niners say no? Did the Niners say no?
I mean, they had a lot of success with it though. So maybe they were like, look, this is the scheme that we want to, if you're going to be on our team, this is the scheme we want to run. So, and Shanny's going to find anybody and everybody to fill in at running back. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as you can put a pair of cleats on, except for Trey Sermon, apparently.
Yeah.
As long as you can put a pair of cleats on and hold on to the ball, you got a job. But, yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
It's pretty wild. I'm kind of excited to see him go somewhere other than San Francisco, although I do feel like he's very utilitarian to that team, right? Like I feel like that's one of his, it's kind of like how Le'Veon Bell was with the Steelers. He was like a gadget guy for that team specifically. And when you get him outside of that, he might become fairly medium to average as far as it goes. Although he's fast enough, who knows what he can actually do. Make sure you guys do all the fun stuff out there. Follow us at totaltitles.com. We got the best videos, articles, the best content out there, and it's only going to be getting better the more we're getting closer to the season here, especially once we kick this draft off. Follow us at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Podbean, Win a Family Breaks, which is actually the sports memorabilia page on the Toilets to Titles site now. So that also needs a little bit of updating. And just basically just anything Toilets to Titles, get on there, follow us, hit likes, hit subscribes, hit all those bells and whistles, and help a guy out. It only takes you a couple minutes to get out there and put something on the thing for us to get us where we want to go, guys. Come on, help us out here. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and just kick into the show, guys. With this, I'm going to go ahead and start off with my list here. So the guys who I'm out there gunning for, and the guys who I really feel like I have high expectations for, and I'm still sitting here just kind of eyeballing to see if George is coming back here or not. He looks like he's just a blank screen to me right now. So we'll keep him on the sidelines until we see something different. But my first guy is Baker Mayfield. Now I can totally see here in the next couple of days where they're going to maybe want to wheel and deal with Baker Mayfield, maybe move him out and get him on the line and get him on the Carolina Panthers. I think that automatically gives him a huge upgrade as far as offense. I know it is a downgrade at the offensive line because he did have a pretty great offensive line, but man, having DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, that's not too bad of weapons. My next guy is Jalen Waddle, and I'm going to go ahead and collectively throw him in there with Mostert since they're both Dolphins. I really like Mostert a lot this year. I think that he's going to be just as good as he was last year, and maybe with a little bit more longevity with the add of Chase Edmonds on the backside there to kind of spell him out between because he's not going to get ran like he did. Whoa.
Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that was. Sorry about that. Here, we'll just do this. And then to have it go and then to go to Jalen Waddle, who there's not a whole lot of people who are really talking very highly about him with the addition of Tyreek Hill out there. And I think with the addition of Tyreek Hill, you can actually go out there and get Jalen Waddle. So that's another guy that I feel like you can get fairly cheap. Welcome back, George. The other two guys we're going to talk about as my two receivers is Ayuk and Sutton. With all the Steve-O Samuel news, let's go ahead and go grab Ayuk while it's still possible before he becomes too expensive. And it might even be too late, but it's still worth a shot. Go out there and grab the guy. And Courtland Sutton, just nobody seems to be talking about that guy in the background anywhere. And to me, that's just a damn shame. I feel like Courtland Sutton's a very, very good receiver. He's very, very good at separation. And you're going to give him a guy like Russell Wilson throwing him the ball. Yeah, look at this. Healthy Mostert, rocket ship to the moon. I agree, Nino. That's a fact right there. It's going to be something else to see.
That injury killed me last year.
How long is he going to be healthy, though?
Yeah, I know.
Well, see, and I mean, like I said, you see guys like Shanahan that run their tires into the ground, and this guy, this is going to be a way better opportunity. I mean, I know Shanahan likes to use his running backs, but I really don't like San Francisco's conditioning program. They hurt a lot of running backs.
Yeah, but it's Mike McDaniels, who's a Shanahan prodigy child. So like, it's going to be he's going to get run into the ground again. I think,
I mean, Waddle was going for double-digit targets last year by the end of the year. Tyreek Hill's going to be going for double-digit targets every week. You got Edmonds who catches the ball out of the backfield. So, I mean, they're obviously going to be opening that offense up, I think, with the weapons that they have now versus I don't think there's going to be too much running between the tackles with Mostert and Edmonds.
Well, why would you get Mostert if you're not going to run him between the tackles?
He's an outside fast guy too, though. I don't know. And to your point, the durability, he can't go 22 times, 18 off tackle. No. He'll be done in 3 weeks.
No way. He'll get 10 carries a game, maybe 12. That's one of the reasons why I'm not. Besides the injury thing, I just don't think he's going to get a ton of run, in that offense, and because they want to keep him healthy, get him to the end of the season if they need him, kind of thing. So seeing Alex started because I liked 4 out of your 5, Mike. My question would have been about Baker, just because you mentioned, DJ Moore and McCaffrey as weapons, but then I think, he just came from Chubb and Hunt in the offensive line, and maybe not great wideouts. I mean, definitely not great wideouts. Maybe Beckham the first year or two they had him, but that's a bottom 15, bottom offensive line, I think, in Carolina. What makes you think fantasy wise Baker is going to shine more in Carolina than he did in Cleveland?
I just think that's a better organization. I think it's a better run organization. I think Cleveland is still very young in their program and everything like that as far as that goes. So for me, I feel like Baker going to a little bit more of a mature organization with players. I feel like it's a lot better offensive weapons that he has on that team as opposed to what he's coming from. Although, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Odell. I like Jarvis Landry. I just feel like that maybe he caught those guys at a little bit more of the tail end of their peak of their career than the beginning of it. And so I think that we were kind of washed with names, and we may be with the same on DJ Moore. I feel like DJ Moore is a stud, though. I think he's still going to be able to go out there and produce. And for me, that gets me excited because I really, truly think that I don't think Carolina is going to go for a rookie. I think they're going to want to try to capitalize on the decent defense that they have now, as well as the offensive weapons. I mean, they're another team out there that's just kind of a quarterback away from being pretty good.
Yeah, their defense is pretty young, though, too. They just had a whole bunch of turnover last year. So I think they still have room to grow into it. But I don't think – I think if Matt Rule has the say in it, he's going to want someone like Baker or, another vet to come in there and try to step in, like you're saying, and, take it to the next level because he's not going to have much time if they don't do do much better this year.
Right. Absolutely. We'll go ahead and go with our next one. We'll go ahead and go with yours, Alex. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about your guys?
Yeah, so I got Kelsey, CEH, Nyheim Hines, Sammy Watkins, and Rashad Penny. Kelsey, I think, tight end one, wide receiver one. Now that Tyreek Hill is gone, I think a lot of targets are going to get funneled to him. Still huge red zone target.
Besmirch Juju Smith-Schuster.
What?
You're besmirching the name of Juju Smith-Schuster.
No, Juju's there, but I think that Mahomes is more comfortable with Kelsey, so he's gonna see, even if he sees the same amount of volume, he's another year older. People are letting go of him a little easier in dynasty leagues than even last year. I tried trading the 101 for him and I couldn't get him just straight up. So I think it's a little bit easier to pry him out of people's hands. I think you're still going to have to pay, decently, but not as much as you've had the last couple of years. And CEH, that's another, I'm a CEH truther. I can't help it. And a lot of people are really down on him. So he's pretty cheap right now. If you can find the right person, as soon as you ask for him, people talk crap on him all season long. And then as soon as you ask for him, they're like, no, he's a top 5 running back. And you're like, what are you talking about? But, anyway, I'm still trying to get him everywhere I can because I think this is his year to excel, especially with, letting Tyreek Hill go. With the 2 high safeties, they're going to have to run the ball. I don't think Rojo's going to impact him that much. So I'm still shooting for CEH. Nyheim Hines. So I know this is crazy, but I don't think Jonathan Taylor. I don't think they want to run Jonathan Taylor into the ground. He's still very young. He's still got plenty of legs underneath him. I think this is a better year to get Hines back into the offense. He didn't really play a lot last year. I can't remember if he was hurt. What was that?
I think he got hurt.
Did he get hurt? Okay, so maybe that's what it was, and that's why we just didn't see him. But with Matt Ryan coming in there, getting some dump offs, I think they try to work Hines back in and not give Taylor the full workload. Because 2 years ago, when it was the two of them, it was a great little tandem, especially down in the red zone. You get Nyheim Hines in there coming out of the backfield, snatching those little wheel routes and arrow routes out. He's great down there. So he's someone that you can get him really cheap. Yeah, exactly. Security blanket all day, every day. But he's relatively cheap. I've been getting him for third round picks, late second round picks. And in this draft, I'm totally fine with that. I'd rather have someone that I know is going to be out there and playing. So he's someone that I'm definitely trying to get as I like to shore up my running back position as much as I can with all the injuries that happen. So having a pass catching back like Nyheim Hines in a PPR league is top notch for me. And then Sammy Watkins, he's a Packer now. He's with Aaron Rodgers. I'll give him a shot. I'm not paying. I don't want to pay too much for him. But if someone's willing to let him go for probably about the same price as Nyheim Hines, I'll take that to see if it happens. Because if someone's gonna get him to work, I feel like Rodgers is the guy.
Yeah, Mahomes couldn't do it.
Yes. Well, yeah. You know, I don't know. I'll take my chances for late second round pick. Early third round pick. I'll take my chances and see what comes out of it.
And that brings us back
Less
to that
competition for targets in Green Bay.
Yeah, a lot less.
That too. Yeah. So, and especially if they do draft, they're going to have to draft hopefully they draft wide receivers. God, if they don't draft wide receivers, but he'll still be the vet. So it'll be someone that I feel will hopefully get that rapport with Rodgers faster because he's been around the league. He's been a pro wide receiver for 5 years now, 6 years now, whatever it is. So,
which is the equivalent of 7 games.
Yeah, that's his only problem is the injuries, but hopefully he can. They're pretty good with injuries in Green Bay, so hopefully they can keep him healthy. And then Rashad Penny, it's a guy, he had a big end of the season last year, but people only remember the first couple years where he was injured all the time. But if he got rid of that injury bug, and now he's going to be in Seattle where they don't have a quarterback. Well, they have Drew Lock. I'm sure they're going to, I'm assuming that they're going to draft someone. But that's perfect. Rookie quarterback. I want the running back, especially in Seattle, where Carroll's just going to try to establish the run every single week week in and week out. So I'm trying to grab Penny too. I think he can be, what he was at the end of the year last year, or at least Chris Carson. Yeah, I think it could be Chris Carson, easy peasy. And I'll take that, pretty much any day of the week.
The thing you got to worry about with Chris Carson is that neck injury. He might not play again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's perfect. That plays right into the plan with Penny. I think he's going to be the lead guy there. And like I said, if he can just be what Chris Carson was, I'm totally fine with that. High end RB2, low end RB1, all day, every day. And you can get them. I've been getting them for I've early second round picks. I don't really want to pay a first if I don't have to, but I'd consider it depending on my team. If I don't need that pick, I might do it. But if I can get them for early second, maybe 2 seconds or something like that, I'll take that.
Which takes us back to our other show when we said the Get Your Guy show. Remember these trash picks, these like 208s, 306s, things like that. Go out there and get yourself a Nyheim Hines with that. Go out there and get yourself a Sammy Watkins with that. Rashad Penny, I bet you can even Rashad Penny, you might have to lean a little bit heavier on the early seconds, maybe mid-second plus. But you probably even turn a second and fourth. I bet you could turn a second and fourth into Rashad Penny if you wanted to, especially right now when it's draft season. This is the optimal time to be getting those pick trades in there. And again, yes, those picks can come into something, but these are all guys that are going to be on lineups that you can win with right now. And maybe not win with, but at least you can start these guys with the full expectation that they'll at least give you a few games this season. Joe, let's go ahead and hear your list, man. Who do you got?
Yeah, man. So it's an overwhelming task starting. So I looked up some Fantasy Pro Dynasty rankings and just as like a baseline and trying to grab some guys where I feel like they're going to outperform the ranking, right? So Tua in Dynasty leagues is ranked as the 16th quarterback. And we've talked about the Dolphins a lot already, but Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Chase Edmonds, Mostert, the offense is there now. They're making a big push. And honestly, the great thing about fantasy is, other than you're docked 1 or 2 for the interception, we don't give a shit about wins. We just want our 350 yards and our 3 touchdowns every week. And I think Tua is going to just be a recipe for that. And, when I think about being ranked 16th of the 32 quarterbacks, I feel like he's certainly poised to outperform that from a strict fantasy perspective. Could they be 6-11? Absolutely, no doubt about it. But I like Tua, as a quarterback, especially again at that 16 right now. Running back wise, and this goes against the draft position thing because he's actually ranked 3rd already. But Javonte, and we all talked about Denver. It's funny, we didn't have overlap in players, but we have a ton of overlap in team, which I do think says something. And so I didn't go the wide receiver route in Denver, but Javonte Williams with no Gordon this year to get in his way. He is just poised to explode. So I still think they're going to run the ball despite Russell Wilson. I think they're going to try to be balanced there. And so I love Williams. I will say if you're trying to get that draft value, we talk Chase Edmonds is ranked 33rd right now for dynasty running backs. And if he stays healthy and you're in a PPR, he could blow that away. Because he was blowing that away in Arizona last year with James Conner when he was healthy. So I think Edmonds could destroy 33rd from a value perspective at the end of the year. Then a couple of wideouts, or 3 wideouts actually, to close it out. The one I feel best about, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 64th in dynasty wide receiver rankings right now. And I really chuckled at that because he was coming on last year being a DFS guy. Peoples-Jones was great because you could get him for super cheap, and he hit a couple home runs for you DFS wise. But I think, obviously with Deshaun Watson now, I think he's going to be the deep threat. I think he's poised to have a great year. And even if he doesn't have a great year, I still think he's going to beat 64th. Real quick, we've talked about a lot of Chief players. I looked at Mecole Hardman. Tyreek Hill, obviously the deep threat there. I think Hardman's got a chance to take that rollover. He was 66th in ranking. I feel better about Peoples-Jones, but I think Hardman has an opportunity. We're going to find out. If not this year for Hardman, I think that's pretty much it for the Hardman train. If it's not this year, but I think he's got the opportunity to really improve this year and beat 66. And then my last one, we've already talked about him today too, Allen Robinson. And I thought he was probably too obvious to even make the list, but he's 34th. And I just, again, I don't even have to be right. If he's average for what he should be in that offense, he's going to be better than 34. So if he plays up to his talent level, I mean, he could cut that in half. He could be 17 by the end of the year. So I really think that's some good value.
Yeah, no, I love the A-Rob. That's a huge one for me. Like I was just telling the guys earlier, I have an offer sitting in my inbox right now for the 107 for A-Rob, and I don't think I want to do it. I think I want to keep A-Rob because, they're going to be chucking the ball all over the place, and that's what he needs is just targets, and Stafford can get him the ball and get it to where he needs it, and he'll win those, he's a contested catch guy, but he's gonna, catch them. So
Plus the other thing too is Cup. The chances of Cup staying as healthy as he did last year are slim, and I hope he does. He's phenomenal to watch, but based on his history, he's not staying healthy for anywhere close to 17 games next year, is my hunch, and that makes Robinson even better.
Even if Cup stays healthy for all 17 games, the statistical odds of him repeating what he did last year, like I've got a better chance of being the starting Dolphins for the Green Bay Packers this year than Cooper Kupp does of repeating what he did last year. Statistically, it's just not going to happen.
Yep. Yeah, no, I love that one. I don't know about Mecole Hardman. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'm okay with you there. I think that's a good shot in the dark, good long shot kind of play. But Mecole's had his chance, and I just don't think he's a NFL caliber receiver. I just don't think he's who we've wanted him to be, even without Tyreek Hill. You still have to catch the ball. You can't just run fast.
He's definitely 5th on my list if I ranked him.
Need that. Yeah, there you go. No, I like Mecole Hardman a lot this year. I've been drafting him. Actually, it's funny how many guys you got on this list that I drafted a lot in my startups this year. Javonte Williams, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Mecole Hardman, all of them, even Tua. I have quite a few shares of Tua as well. So very excited to see that kind of a list coming out of you, Joe. And Joe's just getting into Dynasty. We're going to be teaching him the way and getting him the addiction going as far as it goes for the rest of us. And he's not going to be looking back. I'll bet you by about July he'll be going, okay,
Frankenstink will be my first official Dynasty league ever. And it's crazy because I do so many freaking leagues. It's not even funny, but I've never been a Dynasty guy. from regular leagues and keeper leagues to that and DFS. And yeah, so I'm excited.
That's a
Heck
redraft league.
Yeah, Frankie thinks redraft.
It's not
Oh.
Dynasty.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, hopefully we get one going until it's the title soon.
My
but
bubble
that's
is
it.
bursted. It's complicated. I know that from the rules, so I guess I just assumed it was Dynasty.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man,
no.
no. It's just
No.
complicated. It's fun,
Yeah,
though.
It's complicated.
It's not even complicated. It's just very involved.
It's a lot.
Very. That's
I wouldn't say it's complicated because once you put your studs in the lineup, then you just get ridiculous amounts of points. Like
Right.
that's
Or what's even better is you put your studs in other people's lineups, and then you don't even have to worry about it.
Well, we're not all like you, George.
I'm a giver. Okay.
George has always been a giver. Speaking of a giver, George, why don't you give us your guys right here?
Yeah, so the first I have on this list is Saquon Barkley. I feel like he's being super disrespected. I understand, he's played 15 total games the last 2 years. Right now, his ADP, according to Fantasy Pros, is 24.6. So it's at the back end of the second or the beginning of the third for the guy who potentially could finish the season as the RB1 overall. Like, that's just insane ADP. Mike Clay right now has him as I think he's got him as the 17th running back overall,
Ooh,
which is just crazy. Guys like J.K. Dobbins, who have never even played a full season and have a crowded backfield, are ahead of him. James Conner, who we've never really seen him do a complete season outside of last year, like, he's ahead of him. Like, it's just crazy the guys that Mike Clay is ranking ahead of Saquon Barkley. Like I said, the disrespect is just unreal. I know he only had 4 touchdowns last year. I know he only ran for about 593 yards. But again, the guy is uber talented. Hopefully, the Giants address their offensive line. And if he remains healthy, there's no reason he can't finish as a top 5 running back. So if I can go out and get Saquon Barkley, like, for a back end of the first and throw in a running back like a James Conner, who I'm not 100% sold on, like, that's a trade I would make all day long. The second one on my list was Deontay Johnson. He's going to cost you a lot, but I absolutely love this guy. He is without a doubt one of my favorite fantasy wide receivers to own. The last 2 years, respectively, he's had 169 targets last year, 144 the year before, and he just, believe it or not, he got an upgrade at quarterback. Big Ben's arm was trash last year. I am a huge Trugotsky fan, as Mike knows. So
he is.
he got an upgrade at quarterback. Now, there's a possibility, they take a quarterback in the draft. I would not rule that out. But, like, Mitch Trubisky has made Allen Robinson very fantasy relevant. I'm not a huge Chase Claypool kind of guy. So give me Deontay Johnson. I'm willing to pay up for him. He's somebody I want on my team. I know I can put him in every week. He's going to go out and get you double-digit fantasy points. Most of the time, it's on receptions alone. So give me Deontay Johnson. Mike touched a little bit on Cortland Sutton. That was one of the ones that we actually did have overlap on. Both of us love Cortland Sutton. Last year, he was the wide receiver 48. He had 2 total touchdowns, and he finished the season with 776 receiving yards. That was with a combination of Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball. He just got an upgrade to Russell Wilson. I like Jerry Jeudy. I like Tim Patrick, but I still believe Cortland Sutton is the alpha in that wide receiver core. I see absolutely nothing but upside with Cortland Sutton. So give me some Cortland Sutton. This next one is not anybody who's going to help you this year, but if you're talking Dynasty, give me Calvin Ridley. And he's somebody who is super talented, and you could probably get him fairly cheap right now.
You can bet on it.
What's that, Mike?
I said you could bet on it.
Yeah, you can get him.
Why did that take me a second?
You can bet the house on it. He's somebody that you could probably reach out to the owner, and they know they don't have him at all this year. So they're probably panicking. If they get a decent team, you could throw an offer at them. They'll probably take it because production this year helps them, where you're looking at Calvin Ridley now, where he left the middle of the season last year. So you basically miss almost 2 full seasons. The owner is probably ready to get him off his team versus holding a dead roster spot. So if you're in a situation where you may be a year or 2 away from actually contending, like put Calvin Ridley on your bench, put him in your IR if you have one, and let him sit there. It's not going to hurt you this year because he's not going to play. And then next year you get him back, plus you get a better draft pick because you had to trade away a positive asset to acquire him. So I'm all aboard. I'm reaching out in every league that I'm in Dynasty leagues, trying to acquire Calvin Ridley. And the offers I've been getting in return for him are fantastic. The last one I have is Kareem Hunt. And the reason I like Kareem Hunt is he's in a crowded backfield. They're not re-signing him next year. They're just not. They've got Nick Chubb locked up. They just gave him a huge extension. They have Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson is under contract for another 2 years. They're not bringing back Kareem Hunt. They're going to have to pay him more than what they're paying him right now. So going into next year, he's going to be unrestricted free agent. This is a guy who has already finished one season, his rookie year, as the running back 1 overall in fantasy. So if you could go out and get him for, I'm willing to give the 110 for him and anything better than that for Kareem Hunt. And it's, again, that's a move you make. You could play him this year and he'll get you RB 2 weeks. Most of the time he'll be an RB3 for you, but he's somebody you could put in your lineup. You could put in your flex. You can use him on bye week so you can get production now. And with the hope that next year he signs someplace and is the lead running back. And now you got yourself an RB, a top 10 RB who does, as I said, have a RB1 finish on his resume.
How old is he?
I think he's 26.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I believe he would just be coming off his rookie deal if he didn't have that kicking incident.
He is 26. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a different list. George's list is a little bit of a different angle in totality than the rest of ours. I think ours is, but I like when you think, I mean, Saquon, you can't argue with that, especially if you're talking about getting value off of his current ranking. I mean, it's a great point, but I didn't even think about somebody like, I'm a Giants fan and very cynical with them. So that's probably, I think I skipped them when I went through this whole exercise. I'm too disgusted to even give them thought in this, but no, that makes a lot of sense right there. No doubt about it.
I mean, it's a solid case you could make for almost any one of these guys being a 1. And I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about here, is just trying to get these guys, especially before these teams start making some changes, and people might be starting to pay a little bit more attention because, like, let's say something happens where Pittsburgh doesn't grab a receiver, they don't grab a quarterback or anything like that. Mitchell Trubisky is going to be fine in that situation. And Deontay Johnson probably does get, like, I'd say a 5 to 10% upgrade from having Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball. And that's my realistic hatred of Trubisky. I mean, he's going to be a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger, just because Ben Roethlisberger was just washed up.
And Johnson was still good.
Yeah. And Johnson's still fast. Johnson's still very good. He's a very good receiver. So, I mean, yeah, now's the time to grab him. That's another good guy right there.
So another note I had on here about Deontay Johnson, everybody likes to make fun of his drops. He had 9 drops last year. That was 77th overall in the league. So it's not like he can't catch the ball. He can catch the ball. The problem is when you're getting 169 targets and you drop 9 of them, listen, you could drop 12, you could drop 15. I don't care. As long as you're getting 150 plus targets, I'm good with you dropping the ball because you're not going to catch every single one.
Yep. Yeah, no, I have no problem with his drops. He even had more 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I was snatching him up all over the place last year for a lot cheaper than I probably should have because everyone was worried about it, but I'm not worried about it.
It's a lot of narrative-driven based analysis, which I feel is it's like everybody was fading Jamar Chase at the beginning of the year, saying, "Oh, he can't catch because the ball doesn't have the same white lines that they do in college." And it's like, he's a wide receiver. He catches the ball. That's what he does. He can absolutely catch the ball. And he went out and showed his rookie season. Yeah, he can catch the ball.
Yep, very well.
Yeah, regardless of where the lines were. And what up, Rams for life? Definitely, he's looking for our new man Nino. Nino's been in here asking questions all night. He's actually watching with you, Rams, for sure. But he's definitely a heck of an addition. I sure love us some Nino. He's been really, really cool to have around.
Hey, Mike, what did you think about Mitch Trubisky last year taking Josh Allen underneath his wing and getting him to the AM? Like, how did, like, I mean, how you gonna diss my boy Trugotsky like that? Look what he did.
And then, so on that note, we're just going to go ahead and kick George right out of the show with all that blasphemous talk right there. But no, I really, like I said, I mean, I'm actually kind of excited to see what Trubisky can do in Pittsburgh. There's no way he was ever going to get that job in Buffalo.
No.
So it's going to be nice to see him getting in a situation that isn't Chicago, that isn't a backup situation, because I always thought he was a serviceable quarterback at the end of the day. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, he can't throw the long ball, but he can throw all those routes to Deontay. Deontay does all this stuff everywhere else,
If I let him go to an organization that is stable, like that front office with the Bears when he was there was just horrible. The coaching staff was just garbage. Like, he's going to an organization that is a professional organization. The head coach has tenure and has no worries about, is he going to lose his job next year or anything like that? Like, it's completely stable for him, which is, I think that helps any player, not just, these superstars, but any player going to a stable organization is going to help them.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, guys, on that note, we're going to go ahead and check out. We won't be back next week. Next week, we will be having a 12th title special where we'll be doing a draft special talking about the NFL draft. That is right. 7 days away, guys. Oh, goodness sakes. I'm excited to see where some of these rookies end up going. I think it's going to be very offensive heavy, where we always see it be very defensive heavy in those first couple of rounds. I think with all this money flying around and all these receivers, these GMs are going to be looking at some cost-effective solutions fast. So, I mean, I bet we see a lot of those wide receivers start dropping off top 10 spots. Anyways, might as well talk about it then when we're all sitting here talking about it all together. I don't know about you guys. I'm definitely going to be on that show.
Yes.
Watching the draft. We got our man Joe. He'll be there. I'm sure we'll all probably be there. So make sure you guys. What's that?
At pick 29, I'm going to step away from the show because I'm going to be watching Tyreek Hill highlights.
Oh, there you go. I don't blame you. And we all know you like to do that in the bathtub, George. So we'll definitely be ready for that.
Like one time, and now he's giving away all the secrets.
Good stuff. Well, on that note, once again, I wouldn't mind if you guys would just hop on that 12titles.com and just check it on out and see about them riders on there and all that articles and all that good stuff and all the things that we're doing on that site. And it's only getting better all the time. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter, on Facebook, all that fun stuff, especially our new Facebook page. It's the one that says Toilets of Titles. It's our memorabilia dedication one. And we have all kinds of stuff getting ready to start there, especially in the card game and things like that. So make sure you're all paying attention. You're watching, you're enjoying, liking, hitting that 5 stars. And thank you, Rams, for life. Great show. And you guys all take care. And you guys have a good evening. And thank you so much.
And we're still alive.